Ladies and gentlemen, today we shall bring you a play by Stephen Crane and a recital by a young man who makes fine music on an instrument that's too humble to belong to an orchestra, except when the symphony orchestras beg to accompany him. Now we are delighted to welcome to Omnibus Miss Ruth Draper, a lady who has gone around the world for 40 years, carrying a wealth of props in one trunk and a world of human character in one imagination. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think there's any more need be said about the queen of the one-woman theater, Miss Ruth Draper.
Children, come together. Now, keep all together and follow me. Herbert, take your fingers out of your mouth, dear. Emily, don't forget your curtsy. Christopher, follow Mother. Baby, take my hand. Come, children. Follow closely. How do you do, Mrs. Clark? How are you? How sweet of you to let me come with all my flock. We're an army when we get together, and the children are so excited. Herbert, come, darling. Say how do you do to Mrs. Clark, dear. Take your fingers out of your mouth. You know that this is your dear friend, Bobby Clark's mother? Oh, Herbert, he is your friend. What do you mean, dear? I know they were great friends last week. Come, Emily, darling. And where's our curtsy? And this is my little Christopher. The other hand, dear, you know better than that. The other hand. Baby, come with me. You say how do you do to the kind lady that asked you to the party. Well, this is our first real party. We're only 3 1/2, and we're very much excited. Oh, children, will you look at that Christmas tree? Isn't that a marvelous tree? But, darling, it's much bigger than ours. What are you talking about? Well, they had their own tree, and they were so excited. Now, Mrs. Clark, please don't have us on your mind. I know you have so many things to think about. Well, I hope to see you later for a few moments. We're going to be very happy. I know it's going to be a marvelous party. Thank you so much. Herbert, come here, dear. Now, Herbert, will you please take your fingers out of your mouth and keep them out of your mouth? And don't let me speak to you again about it, darling. And remember all the things that I told you. Oh, I did, Herbert. I told you not to knock over the babies. Be gentle with the little girls. Step aside when older people pass. Don't get your suit dirty. Don't get your hair rumpled. Remember your fingers, dear, and have a happy time. Emily, come here, dear. Now listen. What did you promise Mother? Well, are you going to remember? Well, then don't let me see that expression on your face. I know you didn't, darling, but you're here, and you must make the best of it. Well, maybe nobody wanted to come. Maybe they'd all like to go, but they're not going because they're going to behave, darling. And that's what you must learn. That's what we all have to learn in life, to behave. And even when you're miserable, you must pretend to be happy. Now, smile, sweetheart, and you'll feel better. And go and play with those nice little girls over... But, darling, we're all friends here. We wouldn't be here at all if we were not friends. Everybody is friends. Now, keep going forward and never look back. Go on, darling, and smile. Make yourself agreeable. You'll be happy. Run along. Think of others. Smile, sweetheart. She's very shy. Christopher, come here, dear. Christopher, you promised me that you would not show off. And the first thing you do is to stand on your head. Well, darling, that is not what you came to the party for. Besides which, everybody can stand on their heads. You're not so clever. I certainly could. When I was your age, I stood on my head. I turned cartwheels. And, well, we won't discuss that now, darling. But I just want you to remember that other people are more interesting than we are ourselves. And what you must do is to learn from others, dear, and not show off. Don't try and teach people anything. Baby, come here, darling. You must not run away. Well, I'll find someone for you to play with. Here's somebody now. How do you do, Mrs. Parker? What a pleasant surprise to find you here. And is this the boy I've heard so much about? A girl? How do you do, darling? Will you play with my little boy? Now, be gentle, baby. Be gentle with the little girl. Don't kick her, dear. Don't pull her head. Don't take her tiger. That's her tiger. You're not nervous, are you? Well, he is rather rough, but I don't think he'll attack her. Be careful, baby, dear. Be gentle with the little girl. I think it's better if I don't watch. He sometimes is worse if he knows that I'm looking at him. Well, I think he'll be perfectly safe if he smiles. Is he smiling? I'll just... Oh, it's going to be all right. Oh, it's perfectly all right now because she's given him the tiger. Well, he's a child, Mrs. Parker, who never gives me any trouble at all if he gets what he wants. And he generally does. He's a clever little fellow. Be generous, darling. Share the tiger now, it's yours. Let the little girl play with it. Have you ever seen so many pretty children? Oh, look at that lovely child with the blue bow. Isn't she a dream? I wonder who she is. Who? No. Charlie Murphy's child. My dear, I can't believe it. Oh, I must speak to that child. Is she the sweetest thing? Come here, darling. You mean Harrison it was. Yes, Charlie. Come here, sweetheart. I want to speak to you a minute. Come here. I want to talk to you because you know that I knew your father and he was a little boy. I did, and we were the greatest friends. We certainly were. I just adored your father. And how old are you? 6.5? No. You know that I was once 6.5? I was 6.5, and your father was 6.5, and we were the greatest friends, and I'd like you to be friends with my little girls. Will you come to supper Sunday? And my boys. What's your name so I'll remember? Cynthia. Isn't that a pretty name? Cynthia Harrison. What a lovely name. What? It's not Cynthia. Cynthia Murphy. Oh, dear, I've got the wrong child. I beg your pardon, dear. It's my fault. It's not... My dear, how would you know they all look so much alike? Now, who would she be? Do you know any Murphys? Are there any Murphys? I mean, are there any Murphys that one knows? My dear, you know who I think she might be? I wouldn't be one bit surprised if she were the grandchild of old Mr. and Mrs. Murphy. Oh, yes, they did. They had a dreadful little boy named Charlie with freckles, and he was always getting other children into trouble. Oh, my dear, well, he probably grew up. It's perfectly possible that he grew up and that is his child. What? Get them in a circle? Oh, you mean to play a game? I'd adore it. Oh, what fun. Shall we all play together? Yes, that will be lovely. Now, wait a minute. Children, Herbert, dear, take your fingers out of your mouth, darling. Get the boys in a circle, and we'll all come together to play a game. Emily, dear, now's your chance to make yourself agreeable, dear. Join hands with the little girls. We're all going to play a game together. That's right, darling. It's going to be great fun. Hello. Hello, you're having a lovely time. What? You saw the man take a rabbit out of a hat? He did. And he found a lemon in your ear? What a remarkable man. Come on, dear. What's your name, Barbara? Well, that's nice. I know your mother, I think, Barbara. And what's your name? Tommy? Tommy what? Tommy Wood? Oh, I know your father, Tommy. Christopher, take Barbara's hand, darling. Well, hold it softly and don't pinch. Well, that's the game. Everybody must play the game. Now, wait a minute. We're going to listen and learn how to play. Shh, we don't know yet. Mrs. Clark is going to tell us. Herbert, dear, don't let me speak to you again, darling. Take your fingers out of your mouth. Mrs. Clark, I don't think that's the way we play that game. No, don't you think it's a tug of war? And it's so dangerous they fall down. You mean London Bridge? Well, I think I don't believe they'd know that. Why don't we let the children select something they know they'd like to play? What would you like to play, dear? What? You don't know? What would you like? You don't care? What would you like? You don't know? What would you... They don't know and they don't care, but we must do something. Well, now, wait a minute, Herbert. Can't you help Mother think of a game, dear? There must be some nice game that we could all play. Now, wait a minute. There was a game. What was that game? Mrs. Clark, don't you remember when we were all young, we played a game every party? There was music, I remember, and there were chairs. And you sat down and there wasn't any chair. Oh, it was great as fun. Well, why don't we play that? Yes, I think that'll be perfect. You know, what's it called, dear? What is Mother talking about, Herbert? Can't you help Mother think? Going to Jerusalem, that's it. This child knows. Going to Jerusalem, that's it. Going to Jerusalem are musical chairs. It was more fun. Would you like to play? Would you like to play? They'd all love to play, but we need music. Oh, Mrs. Warner, I know you play divinely. Well, won't you play for the children? They need a little music. You mean Chopin's Funeral March? Oh, isn't it marvelous? I heard Horowitz. Wait a minute, children, don't run away. Last week, but can you make it a little snappy? Yes, cheer it up a little and jazz it. Exactly. And stop all the time. The whole point is to stop. It's more fun. The more you stop, the more fun it is. Come on, children. Herbert, dear. Get the chairs together, darling. Count the chairs and count the children. And you take a chair away, don't you? Take one chair away, darling. Emily, help your brother, dear. Throw yourself into it. Get the chairs in a long line, children. One way and one the other. Keep the line straight. Come on. Will you follow that big boy, you see? Everybody, you'll enjoy it when you get started. Everybody follow the leader. And don't sit down until the music stops. Keep on going until the music stops. That's right. All right, Mrs. Warner. What's the matter, darling? What is the matter? But Darling, don't cry. Who hurt you? That little girl? Kicked you in the stomach? Now listen, Christopher. You must not cry, darling, just because a lady kicks you. Because you might as well learn, dear, that you're going to be kicked all your life. Well, in one way or another, everybody gets kicked. We all get kicked, but we don't cry. You never see Daddy cry. Yes, he gets kicked. No, I don't kick him, but somebody else may. Oh, he's a little young for this game. You go along, darling, and you play with that nice man who showed you where the lemons were. You run along.